Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of Naruto Shippuden episode 299. Now, if you remember from last episode, we get to see Itachi and Nagato. They've been reanimated and they're back, and they're actually fighting Naruto and Killer Bee. But it's not what it appears. Supposedly it was an amazing fight, but Nagato is describing each one of his attacks and what to look out for. And that kind of ruins the fight in general. But again, we do get to see Killer Bee, and he's fighting Itachi, and it's an amazing matchup in my opinion, to an extent. Again, Killer Bee for the win, and I rarely ever say that. Now we're taken to a different scene with Itachi and Naruto. They're doing a light catch-up, just putting that out there, just a light catch-up. Now I should also mention Itachi, after a while throughout last episode, he is no longer on Kabuto's side. He is back, he's in control. He pulled something right out of his ass that I did not see coming. Now, of course, we are taken to a different scene toward the end of the episode. Now, apparently, it looks like Killer Bee and Naruto are actually having their Jinkrais pulled out of them in general, but it's not what it appears. It is not their Jinkrais being pulled out. I just had to put that out there, but again, that's where the episode ends, and I'll hold my final thought and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with Nagato and Naruto. Apparently, Nagato is absorbing Naruto's ninjutsu, so I thought that was worth mentioning. Now, moving on past that, we do find out Nagato, he's no longer talking, so he's no longer in control of what he's going to say or his actions, so Kabuto has stepped it up and shut up Nagato in general, so he can't say anything, so thank God, no more talking. I thought that was worth it. But however, he summons the Jigkudo. He just summons the Jigkudo out, and apparently we're taken to a different scene with Kabuto. Now here's his general plan. I couldn't wait to hear this. I'm like, okay, Kabuto, what is your general plan? Because this is just not making any sense. So apparently Kabuto, he wants to use the Ningido, if I pronounce that right, the Ningido, to extract their souls and kill, both Naruto and Killer Bee off directly. Basically to bring them back, to revive them, to make them reanimated shinobi. I'm like, okay, now that makes sense. But are you going to pull it off? I don't know, but let's find out. But again, that's where we open up with. Now we're taken to a different scene. Now apparently Killer Bee, his Shroudo on Nagato was kind of interesting. So I hope I pronounced that right. He actually used a Shragado, or Sharado, depending on how you want to pronounce it, so I do apologize if I butchered that. But he uses his technique on Nagato, and basically stops Nagato in general. I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting, but is it going to do anything? So we're taken to a different scene with Itachi, and he attacks Nagato with his Sasano. I was like, get out. He can actually use that? I was like, okay. I mean, he's reanimated shinobi. I figured, he might not be able to use a few different of his high power techniques, but apparently, yeah, he can. I'm like, hey, it just got better. So we're taken to a different scene with Kabuto, and he's basically talks about using the planetary devastation to capture, both Killer Bee and Naruto. I'm like, okay, now that, okay, I kind of didn't really see that coming all at once, but he is getting desperate since Itachi is no longer on his side technically. So we're taking to a different scene with Nagato. Now Nagato uses his gravitational pull in general, and we're taking to a brief little scene between Naruto, Bee, and they're actually being attacked, or should I say pulled in. So we see Naruto, Bee, and Itachi, they're being pulled into this gravitational pull, this huge technique that Nagato's actually using. I'm like, okay, but Naruto's already seen this before, so he kind of knows where it's going, or at least he has an idea of what's going to happen. So we're taken to a different scene with Itachi. Now Itachi also has a plan, which it was worth it. I mean, at least he came up with something instead of Killer Bee or Naruto. So again, we're taken to a brief little cutscene with Itachi, and he does have a plan. Apparently he wants to attack the sphere. He wants each one of Naruto, Killer Bee, and himself, they want to attack long distances with their ninjutsu, their strongest long range attacks. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, just to cancel out this sphere which is sucking them in. But we are taken to a different scene with Itachi, and he uses his Yasuka beads, which, it's kind of interesting. Now, Killer Bee, he uses his tailed beast bomb, which, I saw that coming instantly. Now, we're taken to a brief scene with Naruto, and he uses his wind-style Rasen Shuriken. And it's all direct hit. Each one of them has a direct hit on the sphere, which is sucking them in. I'm like, yeah, come on, we knew this was coming as well. Come on, this is all planned out by Itachi, and it makes perfect sense. If he had planned something out, it's going to happen perfectly, because it's Itachi. And you know what? I love Itachi. I'm an Itachi fan. Come on, Sasuke versus Itachi. Itachi. Plain simple. But sorry, I digress. We are taken to a different scene with Nagato. Now, Nagato is actually attacked by Itachi by his Tatsuke blade. And I love his Tatsuke blade. And again, Nagato is back. I mean, after this attack by, Itachi, Nagato can now talk. He's not like in control of his body per se, but he's actually talking now, so he can actually say stuff. So we're taken to a different scene with Itachi, and apparently his attack is also known as the Sasagari Blade, which, you know, can seal people, but I'll get into that. So apparently his technique, you know, which is, you know, the Sasaki Blade, that's also what it's known by, it basically can seal away all powers of someone in general. I hope I described that right. Sometimes I butcher it up when I describe it, but basically it can seal away all, like, whatever it pierces. Like, it can seal up whatever it pierces. Whatever his blade touches, it can seal someone up. Not just their power in general, but the person in general can seal them up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And basically it places them into a world of eternal genjutsu. I'm like, that's something handy to actually have in this kind of anime series. And I'm glad we actually get to see it firsthand, yet again. I love seeing it, you know. So we're taken to a different scene with Nagato. And while he's actually getting sealed away by Itachi's, you know, his technique, he actually tells Naruto, when I cross over to the other side, I'll be with Jirai. We're both going to be watching you. We can't wait to see your story unfold. I'm like, that was kind of meaningful, at least in my opinion. Now, we are taken to a different scene with Kabuto. And Kabuto is just pissed beyond belief. However, he starts talking about his special ace in his sleeve he has. You know, he has a special something in reserve. What is this special something he has in reserve? I mean, first of all, he was pissed. I mean, he lost Itachi, but now he loses Nagato. Well, yeah, of course he's pissed, but what's this ace in your sleeve? You've got something better than Itachi, better than Nagato? Okay, let me sit down for this. Okay, I'm sitting down already. What is this? So we're taking to a brief little cutscene with Nagato. Or should I say, he's gone now. Yeah, he's sealed, he's gone. So we're taking to a different scene with Naruto. And he actually uses his Nine-Tail mode to, you know, he wants to get back into the game and keep going ahead. But we find out Naruto's, you know, his Nine-Tails mode is shut down. He can no longer use it. He's used it too long. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously. I mean, you can't stay in that form forever, so it makes kind of sense. So Itachi, he takes control. He takes the lead. So I thought it was about time. I mean, Itachi is the smartest within the group now that he's back on, you know, Naruto's side. So we're taken to a brief little cutscene with Itachi, and he's talking Naruto down because Naruto just wants to go right ahead and keep going all by himself. And, you know, Itachi basically explains to Naruto, you can't do this all alone. I mean, now that you have the power, the respect of the people from the Leaf Village, you're getting a little arrogant. And, you know, we've seen from the past what this does to people. Snap out of it. I mean, your father was, you know, the Hokage. Look what he did. He had his wife with him, and he has the village support, and he was able to be a, you know, lead the way he was able to. Look at the example he set. And I'm like, okay. So eventually Naruto does stop in his tracks per se. He's listening to Itachi, and he's making a lot of sense. And again, Itachi for the win. I love how he talks and explains everything down. I mean, he sees everything for what it is. But sorry, I digress. Now, toward a little past that, after he's done talking Naruto down, we actually do a little brief cutscene of all of Naruto's friends, family, you know, everyone that's been really close to him. Like, it was kind of interesting, a little meaningful, but I really didn't want to see this because it was a waste of time in my opinion. But, you know, still, I guess it was worth something to a couple hardcore Naruto fans, you know, kind of see. I mean, it was, I guess, kind of worth seeing. But we are taking to a brief little cutscene with Itachi yet again, and he actually gets rid of Shushi's eye. Yeah, the little eye that's in the crow, which belongs to his friend. That is, you know, his friend entrusted to Itachi, which he kind of gave to, you know, Naruto, which again is in this crow. That eye, he gets rid of it. Basically explains, yeah, he's saving this eye for another time because it's no longer going to be useful right now. I'm like, okay, that's... Oh, okay, fine. I don't really know if that was really worth it or not, but we're going with it. That's all I'm saying. We're going with it. So we're taking to a different scene toward the end of the episode. And again, Itachi basically says, you know, goodbye, Naruto, goodbye, Killer Bee, I'm going to go off and do my own thing, and he leaves. So he's no longer with them, but he's still on the good side. He's no longer with Kabuto so far. But again, that's where the episode ends. As for final thoughts... Okay, well, first of all, at the end of the episode, we find out Naruto is back in his Nine-Tails mode, so he's got his power back. After he had like that brief little few minutes of powering down, now he's back. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Well, first of all, where is Itachi going to be heading to? Who is he going to be fighting next? We still don't know. He's going after reanimated shinobi, and now that we know he can seal them up with his technique, well, his genjutsu, technically, that's kind of interesting. I can't wait to see who he's going to fight. But moving on past that, who is Killer Bee and Naruto going to fight next? Who are they going to go after? And Kabuto, who is this ace in the sleeve, your special reserve you were talking about? Come on, you had Itachi, but he's no longer on your side. You had, you know, Nagato, but he's defeated. He's no longer just sealed, he's gone. So what do you got left? Sage of the Six Paths? Naruto's father, Jirai maybe. I don't know. You're gonna pull something out of your ass, and it's got to affect Naruto in some form, some way. Who? Just putting that out there. We still don't know who. We really don't know. But again, that ends it for my final thoughts. Nothing too special there. As per my rating, I'm feeling a 3.5 out of 5. Only because a 3.5 out of 5. Okay, here you're already sitting down, so I may as well explain this to you. Because I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5 instead of a 4. Okay, the fighting really wasn't there, but I was shocked and amazed to see Itachi just jump in there with his sealing technique, his sealing jutsu he has embedded in that blade, which was freaking amazing, by the way. But it wasn't a fight regardless, because he was going to win anyways, and Nagato was just shut down right away. So I'm not really thrilled with the matches in this episode, so the fighting was bare minimum. The information was even worse because, I mean, Kabuto leaves you in the dark with, who is this ace in your sleeve he has? You had Itachi, which is gone. You had Nagato, and he's been defeated. And you have someone that's better, but you're leaving us in the dark in this episode. So next episode we'll find out probably, but that kind of pissed me off. Drama and whatnot's not really there. Just Itachi and how he was talking to Naruto, that was probably the best part in my opinion. I mean, bear with me, I'm an Itachi fan, not a Sasuke, not a Naruto fan. I'm an Itachi fan, because he makes more sense. If he can snap out Naruto out of this he's alone in the world type of scenario instead of, you know, other things, that's kind of interesting. Itachi, you snapped Naruto out of him doing his own thing, and that's saying something. Maybe, at least to me anyways. But again, before I get off topic too much, final rating, 3.5 out of 5. But again, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of Naruto Shippuden episode 299. But again, guys, that ends it for now. Definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like, and check my forum out. You can check that out on my YouTube channel, as well as in the description down below. Again, check out my forum and sign up. Definitely open up some conversations with me, new topics and whatnot, and always ask questions and definitely comment. But again, that ends it for now. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know if you think's going to happen in the next episode that's coming out. But that ends it for now, and I gotta hit the bricks, and I gotta go. And before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.